Let's start with an unusual question. What would you say is the main advantage of having PhDs? Well, if your answer was Dr. Fish, then congratulations. You have passed the first level of this quiz. And in this video, we'll tell you more about these extraordinary creatures. So let's get started. Interesting facts about Dr. Fish. We'll begin with where this strange name comes from. In fact, these fish are not really doctors, nor are they able to offer any medical advice or treatment. Their title was given to them because they can nibble away dead skin cells, leaving the patient with smoother skin than before. But how did these fish become world famous? This story goes back to the early 2000s when the locals in Turkey first noticed the positive effect of these fish. At that time, people suffering from psoriasis found relief when they soaked their feet in the mountain streams and rivers where these fish live. The fish would eat up the excess skin cells that are often caused by psoriasis. The word got around, and soon people from all over the world came to Turkey to experience the miraculous healing powers of these fish. These fish are actually called Gara Rufa, which translates to rough healer. This name was given to them due to their somewhat peculiar appearance. The fish don't have scales, and their skin is covered with mucus, making them look slimy. Their mouths are also quite strange. They kind of look like big red lips sucking everything around them. But don't worry, the fish aren't vampires. It's just another adaptation to help them stay in one place. Their natural habitat is fast-flowing rivers and streams where, in order not to be swept away, they use their mouth suckers to cling to rocks or plants at the bottom of the riverbed. By the way, their mouths work kind of like a vacuum cleaner. But why do these fish eat human skin? Well, it's because they're scavengers. In the wild, they mostly eat algae, organic debris, and small insects. But if the fish are hungry and there isn't much food in the water, they can find an alternative source of nutrition on people's feet. However, fish will never bite someone intentionally. They can only nibble a person's skin if they really want to eat. If the skin is too thick, the fish won't be able to eat it, so they'll move on to another customer. The feeling that you get when these fish are eating dead skin off your feet is described as ticklish and pleasant. And most importantly, it's absolutely painless because the fish don't have real teeth. They have little tooth-like formations, but they're only used for sucking. These fish simply create negative pressure in their mouths, which allows them to gently nibble off dead skin without causing any harm. After this unusual meal, the fish release microscopic bubbles with saliva onto the surface of the skin, which acts as an anesthetic. That means that you feel nothing while the fish are doing their magic. To attract customers, many spa centers play videos on their TVs showing how fish eat dead skin off people's feet. Potential clients watch the procedure and then decide if they want to try it themselves. Many people believe that this type of pedicure is not only more effective than the usual one, but also healthier since it involves natural ingredients such as fish saliva. In 2007, Dr. Fish Spa became especially popular in Turkey, Japan, and South Korea. The procedure was considered to be the height of luxury, and there were many people who wanted to try it. At that time, there were several Dr. Fish spas in every major city of Turkey, and the price for a 30-minute session reached up to $20. Of course, the fish didn't get rich from this, because the income went entirely to the owners of the spas. For the fish, the procedure was more like a kind of torture. After all, they had to spend all day biting off dead skin and didn't get anything in return. Even the water in the tanks with the fish could become infected because people didn't always follow proper hygiene. Because of this, some countries such as the USA, Canada, and the UK completely banned fish spa services. The thing is, when people soak their feet in the same tank, they can easily infect each other with various diseases. One customer may have cuts on their feet and not even know about it. Then they dip their feet in the tank and all the bacteria from the cuts end up in the water. The next customer soaks their feet in the same water and gets infected. Since it's impossible to disinfect such a large amount of water, it's easier to ban fish spa services altogether rather than coming up with ways to deal with this problem. But despite the ban, people still wanted to experience what it's like to have hundreds of fish eating dead skin off their feet. For this purpose, portable fish spas were invented that could be installed directly in a regular spa salon. By the way, Dr. Fish are pretty small. They grow to be no more than 5 to 10 centimeters long and live for about 4 to 6 years. With proper care, although in artificial conditions, they tend to die earlier than they would in the wild. Dr. Fish are not just unique because they can eat dead skin off people's feet. They are also interesting because they are constantly evolving. Over time, they develop immunity to the effects of anesthetics that humans use. Scientists have conducted experiments where they exposed the fish to an anesthetic called MS-222. The fish quickly developed resistance to it. It's important to note that the fish farms where they breed these fish don't use antibiotics. However, even without them, the fish develop immunity to diseases. This is perhaps due to the fact that Dr. Fish are constantly exposed to different chemicals from humans. After all, people use various detergents, shampoos, and cosmetics, and all that ends up in the water. Therefore, the fish develop immunity to these substances faster than usual. However, the main reason why Dr. Fish gained worldwide popularity is their ability to remove dead skin. In addition to traditional pedicures, many people go to special salons specifically to have their feet cleaned by fish. Usually, a session lasts about 20 minutes. During this time, the fish manage to eat up all the dead skin on a person's feet, leaving them soft and smooth. Of course, this is not the only benefit of such a procedure. After all, many patients notice that their skin becomes softer and more elastic. There's also an unusual but pleasant tingling sensation when the fish are eating the dead skin. It feels as if thousands of tiny needles are pricking the skin, but it doesn't hurt. On the contrary, it's very relaxing. And when combined with the smell of fresh fish, it creates a truly exotic atmosphere. Many people claim that fish spas relieve not only the skin, but also the mind. The thing is, when you dip your feet into a tank with water and see hundreds of tiny fish eating away at the dead skin, it's hard not to relax. All you have to do is lie down, close your eyes, and enjoy the unusual sensation. Even the sound of running water helps to tune out the hustle and bustle of the outside world. Now let's talk about whether it's really beneficial to allow fish to eat dead skin off your feet. There are two sides to this issue. On the one hand, this is an opportunity to exfoliate dead skin in a more natural way. On the other hand, you have no idea how clean or dirty the fish are. Sure, the fish are washed before the procedure, but you can never be sure that they're completely healthy. Although it might seem that fish can only spread infections through dirty water, this is not the case. They can carry harmful bacteria in their mouths, especially if they've bitten someone who has an open wound. And when they bite you, the bacteria can enter your body through small cuts or scratches on your feet. Despite all the controversy, many people prefer fish pedicures to traditional ones because they believe that this method is more hygienic. The thing is, during a traditional pedicure, a person uses sharp tools such as blades or files. It's almost impossible to completely disinfect them, which increases the risk of infection. In addition, it's not uncommon for a nail cutter or file to accidentally cut or damage the skin, which also increases the chance of infection. With a fish pedicure, the risk of getting an infection is lower because the fish don't use sharp tools. They essentially eat away dead skin without causing any damage to it. So in short, Dr. Fish are not only famous for eating dead skin, but also represent a fascinating yet controversial relationship between humans and nature. Thanks for watching. See you later.